Mexicans, welcome back to a new video. So we're going to be looking at what if civilization started over again. And we're going to be starting over here in Carthage, which has turned out to have had unstable problems. So first up, this whole entire Carthage Empire will collapse, and it will go in the gray as it's collapsed. The land is up for grabs. So what does each country take? The Ethiopia-Sudan area does not want to take anything. So the colonial powers will deal with. So the blue team will deal with their portion, which is where their colony is. And they're actually gonna extend themselves up into the border here. It kind of looks like the pink team's colony in the original series, of which actually it's more of a coastal version, but yeah, it's like the pink team's original colony. Next up, the red team, who will be taking some good chunks of land. Only the coastal areas, though. So they will be taking basically a lot of the core territory of Carthage is what they'll be taking. So that includes the Egyptians, Carthage itself, this lake, basically that part of Morocco and the coastline, and yeah, that's the entire core territory, with a bit of thickening out. Along with that, Spain is the Iberians are pretty good core areas, and yeah, not all of it, but we also have these areas, and yeah, that's just a bed because they took it before Italy. And yeah, Spain pretty much takes the rest. And then we do end up continuing to start up some colonial fronts, as the Danish team, who has colonized Western Africa before everyone else, sure as heck continues to basically solidify themselves into the rest. That's that. And then the splitting up, and then two puppet states will be made for the red team in order to prevent colonialism from happening over here in this area. Alright, first up, these puppet states will, be marked in, not lower opacity, that's for wars. They will be marked in separate reds. So this red will be the first puppet state. This will be the Libyan Algeria mix that will encompass pretty much this area of Africa. And actually, I believe that'll be the only puppet state, as they'll also consume Egypt. So, yeah. Yeah, the red team has extended themselves to be a pretty good powerhouse. They though, the Italian team was about to take some lands in Italy. And they go in a different route. So, yeah. first build up their military, and they will go in the offensive, with Denmark teaming up for that. And France, because France has been getting harassed by the UK. But we will see that in a moment. Alright, so the Red Italian team will start up a new alliance. This alliance is meant to go against the Western democracies, which is the Red team, essentially. Also, basically imperialist, too. This is before the colonialism, though. So we will have the Parallelogram Alliance be the first one. First member, Italy. Shoot, give me a second. Kind of need to make that a little bit smaller. Not by that much, though. Why does it do that? I don't want it to do that. Honestly, forgot how to use the shapes. Oh, okay, there we go. Parallelogram. The Italian team starts up the alliance, and France and Denmark joins it. Probably would be better if I did on the Prussia. There you go. Who else will join this alliance? Well, South China would. Oh, dang. And, Japan. Yeah, sounds about right. Although Japan is going to get a different color because I think that... Oh, no, never mind. It was narrowly close, but... Yeah, so... The Parallelogram Alliance is basically the axis of our timeline, except a World War I type. So now we have the fighting force, which will be this wonky Star Alliance, created by the Red Team. Who will join that? Well, automatically the puppet state joins them. Yeah, that's a given. Then we have North China joining them. If you didn't know, well, actually, the Korean team, the orange one that started over here, they're rivals of South China. In fact, South China actually rivals the Korean team because they took a bunch of Chinese land. They want Chinese land. And they also hate Japan. So, who else joins this alliance? India. Although this time India will have to get a different color. India will join this alliance, and, well, the Iranian team does not really like the star, because the red team isn't it, but now India. So, they will have to join the Parallelogram Alliance since they have never gotten along with these two. And then you think the green team would be on their side, right? Oh no, not even close. The green team will join this Star Alliance. And yeah, there's a little bit more though, as this blue team. It has good relations with the red team, and so it joins that. But yeah, but they've been militarily building up, and we can ignore this area because it's not a part of our world. Okay, but yeah, there's more countries that would like to join the star teams. Spain, Britain. Oh wait, dang it! I forgot to make a layer. I forgot to make an alliance layer. Well, I'll be back. I'm gonna recreate these alliances. and the alliances are fully set up, so they're now on their own layer, thankfully. So yeah, let's discuss the new members of each alliance. So the Italians started up the Parallelogram Alliance, and we have France, Prussia, or Denmark, Iran, Myanmar, and the South Chinese team, and also Japan. Now, who? Oh yeah, and the Oceanic team too. They wanted to join because they really hate the Korean team. And who joined on the Star team? Well, Vietnam. Yes, Vietnam. This is Vietnam. They just have Thailand in this universe. India, the Koreans, the Green team, the Red team, the Blue team, their puppet state, the Red team's puppet state, the Iberian team, and the British team. Along with that, there's a new member, one who really hates the Danish. No, actually, one who likes the Danish, and also just wants to get rid of Britain. They hate Britain. That's right, the Nordics. Yeah, the Nordics are one of those people. And each alliance will now declare war on each other, because France set off a war with Britain, which activated both alliances. Now, at first, these alliances will do well, since they will attack neutral countries, because for their military dictatorships, they do things like that. So first up, they attacked the Germans. What did the Germans do to deserve this? Nothing, but they get it anyway. So they push into the Germanics. Some of the work is done by the Italians, and on God, that's good ass work. But that's a majority of it is done by the Danish team. It's just the Danish, though. What can you do? And as the Danish are pretty well equipped for this war, they're going to that's pretty close in opacity. Okay. There. Okay, that's better. Yeah, they will take the rest of Germany, as Germany's not fit for this. And yeah, they collapse into separate administrative regions. The Italians get their administrative, and yeah, but the Danish are not done. They take out the Dutch with the help of France, who will take over this portion of the border, which looks pretty dang good. I've gotta say so myself. If France annexed us, it would be perfect. But the war's not done yet, as that's gonna have to be brought over to the Iberian team. Now France will do some work down here. It's work, though. It is work. That is way too damn close to France in color for my liking. Sure, it isn't France's color, but it doesn't make it better. The blue team will occupy this coastal area of Spain. They also take coastal areas of Portugal, but that's where they stop. As the red team is much more stronger. And since they're much more stronger, it makes sense that they do something here. Now the red team is much more stronger, so that's that. They will push back in a later bit of the war. Oh, wait, actually? They're strong, but they're not even mobilized yet. So they do take bits more. A bit more. But they hold out like this, and they will and yeah. However, over here the red team will push into, the Italian team will push into the Reds. They get pretty dang far in the Balkans, if I do gotta say so myself. They make it so far that they basically take over most of it. Now, there's the problem. Not everything's gonna go to them. They will push into the Russian areas of this empire. But that's it. Because they're like, this red team's about to mobilize. But before they do such a thing, they really hit the nail in the coffin as they declare war on Russia, which automatically puts them in the star team, but you won't do that. See, that's where they messed up. Russia is a powerhouse. This is first place, but Russia ain't far behind. And, well, they don't even make it through the country. In fact, the Russians are such war machines that they just bring the war to them. And because of that, the Nordics are getting curb stomped. Really curb stomped. It gets so bad for the Nordics that the Russians managed to take out Finland and these areas of the Norwegians. And with that, the Norwegians decide to surrender to Russia in order to make sure that they don't get curb stomped in the treaty. They will, but they won't get, like... Okay, so they will lose land and to no avail, but it won't be bad, because in the end, Russia will probably just take Finland, and the other powers will be the other powers. But, yeah, since we're talking about them, yeah, the British take over Iceland. It should be obvious that they do. But now that means Yeah, that's the end of this the parallelogram alliance. At least in Europe. So they push into the Baltics. They take that out. They take out Prussia, which honestly just probably wants to be under something else. And the Danish collapse, and they go into Russian occupation. Along with that, we have this area. Yep. The red team takes back all their stolen lands. This includes not everything. Yeah, really, not everything. So they take back their former territories in Russia and the Balkans. Yep, the Balkans get taken back. These need to be separate. They really do need to be separate. Yeah, they're separate, but not that separate. Yeah, apparently Paint.net doesn't like me. Hang on. What are you doing? You're supposed to be under. No? What are you doing? You actual brain dead. Okay, well, whatever. I'll fix that in post. I'll fix that after this war. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, for now, because of the stupid issues, the red team will not have occupation colors for. Yeah. But anyway, the Italian team is losing. Go figure. Yeah, so, they're losing, and they're losing bad. No doubt about that. They get kicked out of Iberia. The Dutch kicks them out. And yeah, France gets violently split between the red team and the British. The borders will look very similar to the British empires, and yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to realize this German team collapsed from within. So borders are kind of shifted around to, yeah. And I'm gonna be for real. A lot of the borders are gonna change massively in Western Europe. But anyway, we have one more. We have a few more parallelogram countries. So Iran doesn't really stand a chance. They're gonna get curb stomped by 3 powers. Well, these two are doing most of the heavy lifting. The Indians. The the red team. And the rest has remained to the green team, which will take this. And finally, the Koreans will deal with, the Koreans and Vietnamese will deal with these two. Now, the Koreans, have to deal with China first. Oh yeah, and Japan. Japan will just... Okay, so... Here's the thing. Japan built itself an empire. They're not that strong, though, compared to the Korean team. They probably shouldn't have joined with the Parallelogram Alliance because they're not strong enough to handle the heat. But yeah, the Korean team takes out Japan, and China's not far off. While this mess honestly is just about to get colonized by the powers. As the orange team first starts with the Philippines in this area. Wait, is it its own country or is it owned by I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look at the episodes, but yeah, basically the heavy lifting of this country is done by it might just be one army in color, but this is just the world's armies combined because Europe is over. Basically the European armies are curb stomping the Oceanics, no doubt about that, and they collapse yep. And then the colony. Yep. Sounds about right. Anyway, now this. Yep. It's all for the Parallelogram Alliance. Let's just take a look at a peace treaty. So, this is interesting. The powers have colonized Africa, and that was the main point of the peace treaty. But first up, we will start east to west. So first up, China annexes all of South China, and along with that, they take over that Russian stuff that the Japanese the Japanese had. They still keep bits of Russia, but a lot of it goes to actual Russia. Sakhalin stays under Japan, and they still kind of have it. They still have an empire, but it's weaker. And then over here, Myanmar, they got absolutely destroyed. As I said, absolutely destroyed. There's no parts of it left, as it got divided by India, Korea, and yeah. The Malay country joins with Korea, and Korea colonizes Taiwan, the Philippines, and bits of Borneo and Sumatra, while the British colonize the rest of Oceania. Over in Africa, the Koreans colonize South Africa. The blue team expands their colony down into Mozambique and Tanzania and all that. The British take over the Danish colony and expand their colonial holdings up into the DRC and all that. And then surprisingly, the red team doesn't take land. It's actually the puppet state that colonizes the land. So the puppet state colonizes the land for the country. It's confusing, I know. Anyway, now we go to Europe. The red team no longer exists. The core of it, which is Italy, is basically just under red team control. Meanwhile, this German country is essentially just Bavaria or Austria or whatever. Essentially, There are a few new countries that started up. This one's kind of Switzerland. That one, which is kind of Liechtenstein, but not really. And there's a teal one. There's this one. The German borders have been shifted around now. Prussia is a thing. And then France still exists, but they lose all their dang coastline access to Britain. So they still exist. They do expand a bit in the east, but they're weak. They are really weak. They've been weakened. As for Denmark itself, what is Denmark? As the British take that. And along with that, along with that, the Nordics are completely harassed. So Russia takes Finland. Russia takes Finland. Yeah, Russia takes Finland. Oh my god, I can't call it right. Okay, there you go. Russia takes Finland, and they take bits of Sweden along with some islands around the Swedish area. And then the British take southern Norway, southern Sweden. The Grey Team still exists, but they're reduced to northern Norway and northern Sweden. And their populated areas are over here. Not really anywhere. It is population, but it's not a bunch. So they've been weakened heavily. They still get to keep Svalbard though. But as for Iceland, which it was a Nordic thing, now it's British. And they were also colonizing Greenland and took the whole thing before they took Iceland. I mean, like before the whole war. But now that just goes straight over to Britain, which means they discover a North American possession. And well, yeah. I think I discussed everything in Europe. Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole war. But now colonialism will begin. As, colonial forces from the Red Team begin to colonize first. As they head over and, through the Atlantic Ocean. They wanted to go to India, but instead they land across into these areas. They take out the Caribbean. They ask India, are we in your country? They do a search for the Red Team. But they say, no, you're not in here. Where the hell are you? And they're like, we don't even know. And the Red Team has discovered the American continent. They're going through the Caribbean. When they realize that they're on the American continent, they see Florida, which has their infrastructure and their technology. Florida is there and Illinois is there. They both know each other. They're like, please, they're like, you can colonize, but can you please not take us? And the Red Team and the other European powers agreed to this agreement. So yeah. So they're left alone, and the colonization can begin around them. So first up, the Yucatan area. They get into Mexico. And they set up a pretty dang good colony around this area. They take the mouth of the Mississippi. They go up into Illinois. And the colony pretty much does this. The northern end. This is where it stops. There's other countries that like to join that action. But before they do, the red team's colony will wrap around the Caribbean Sea, making sure it fully completes itself. Then we have the British. They land over from Greenland. They go into these islands. They get no resistance. They are cold, though, so they do have struggles. The British force them to continue, though, and they land into Quebec. Yeah, these islands are fully taken, and they also land into Nunavut. There are a bunch of lakes here, though. They use the resources of fish to stay alive from them. And eventually, the British will round off about here in the eastern side. The western side will be it will pretty much be kind of a thing between the red team and the British, but a lot of it will go to the British and the red. It's kind of a split on split type thing. Oh yeah, and this area goes to the red. And the Russians will take the opportunity. They already have this area, but they're going to take the opportunity to get into Alaska. And they establish their colony here. They go ahead and run off that area. But the rest will go to Britain. And then we have the final colonial power coming in, which will be Spain. Now Iberia is weak. They're like like one of the weakest nations in Europe. They're still in a position to colonize, and they're going to. The colonizing for them might be a bad idea in the long run. But they do pretty much colonize around where the U.S. Started originally. Like the 13 colony area where the U.S. started. As said, Illinois and Florida are left alone. So that will be mainly the agreement. And it will stay the agreement. But now we have the rest of the colonies over here in South America. Britain is the closest to Brazil. They will end up taking Brazil. They are the closest to Brazil, keep in mind. But some of it is also going to go to the red team. Now, not everything will go to them, but a lot of wraparound coastline type things will happen here for the Reds, while the British will go into Brazil. They will kind of go into these areas of Brazil, making sure they get some pretty good lake areas. And they will get pretty close to touching the coast. And they will. However, other colonial forces are coming in, such as the Orange Team. Now take for note, the Orange Team. Well, actually, the Japanese will come in too, surprisingly. Well, they were weakened, but they were not weakened enough to the point where they can't colonize. They're actually pretty strong still. And so they take this opportunity to take some land over here in South America. It'll be like the smaller colony of the bunch, but it'll still be a colony. Definitely one of the definitely still a colonial power. Don't underestimate them, but it's not as big as you think it would be. And next up, we finally have the closest country on both sides, really, because for one, Korea is over here in South Africa, while over here they can still reach through. They can still reach and make it up to here. So they will colonize like a couple areas that are left that are unclaimed. So first up, we have the Argentinian area, which in fact, no one else colonized. So they take the opportunity. And that's where it rounds off. Now, this part is still British, but yeah. Anyway, then Hawaii. You know, I'm surprised no one else took it, but the Koreans take their hands on the Galapagos and Hawaii, and they set up kind of a more Pacific themed empire over here. The islands of the Pacific are kind of theirs. They got Hawaii, they got these areas. That's all Korean team areas. That's the agreement. While these areas over here will also end up Korean teaming soon. Some of these areas are Japanese, though. And we'll keep that in mind. This area is definitely Japanese. That area over there is Korean, though. And it makes sense. It's close in proximity to Korea. It's literally next to it, so yeah. But yeah, North America's pretty much complete. All the Americas are pretty much complete. So we have the red team colonizing this Mississippi, this central area over here. We have the Canadians, yep. We have the British colonizing the Canadians, and yeah, but now see, here's the thing though. Spain, well, for one, it was invaded by Denmark in the First World War, and well, basically, Spain here is really weak economically. They're relying on the red team for money, but that's not enough. And so this colony was actually their way of taxing the people who settled here in order to get some money. Now they don't. They haven't done that first. They haven't told them until like they lived there in their 6 months. But, well, as we know in real life, when you tax these people, things don't go well. And honestly, because Spain hasn't built like much of a colonial presence around the world anymore. Alexa, stop. Yeah, because the Spanish have not built a colonial presence in anywhere in the world. If they lose the United States, they're in risk of not having an empire anymore. And when you don't have an empire, like, you're just no. Also, the people would not like not having an empire, because then the whole economy of this country tanks, and then the whole government collapses. But we will look at that a bit later, But yeah, that's the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and this might be a 40-minute Wix, so I don't care. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.